Video games based on movies tend to get a bad rap, and that's with good reason because there's so many terrible ones out there that it's hard to keep track. Oftentimes they're rushed to be released alongside the movie, so they're left buggy, broken, or incomplete. So here's my top 5 list of worst video game movie tie-ins. These games didn't just make the list because they're bad, but they also did a great injustice to some of my favorite movies. So let's start the countdown. Number 5. Robocop for the Xbox. Robocop is such a great movie. I don't know anybody who doesn't like it. There have been quite a few games since it came out in 1987, and some were even pretty good. But why do you need to make a game 15 years after the movie came out? Oh yeah, probably for money. This game just screams cash grab to me. They were just trying to sell their boring, broken first-person shooter to fans of the Robocop franchise only because it had the name slapped on the cover. It's not as creative or entertaining as the movie in the least. It's just bland, repetitive shooting, and it doesn't even do that well. Each case is a different level that Robocop must solve, but really, that just means walking through and shooting everybody. There are also secondary objectives, like to arrest a certain amount of people, or to save hostages. The weapons aren't fun to use at all. They're very generic, and there aren't even that many of them. Aiming is a hassle, especially when enemies are far away, because you can't zoom in. So you'll be shooting wildly at them, while at the same time, they're hitting you with ease. Oftentimes, as soon as you enter a room, enemies will be shooting at you from all directions, which is annoying, and then you'll realize Robocop cannot take any punishment. You'd think the metal-clad machine would be able to take a few shots, especially since in the movie bullets bounce right off of him. Heaven forbid you get hit by a flamethrower, because that means instant death. I wasn't even sure what happened the first time I was hit by a flamethrower. I thought it was a glitch. What makes this game even worse is that when you die, it's back to the start of the level. I don't usually mind this, but playing through a level can take about 20 or more minutes. So if you die near the end of a mission, it makes you question if you should replay it or just quit. Actually, the question you should be asking yourself is why you started playing this to begin with. The graphics are nothing special here, and actually pretty bad for the Xbox. And don't get me started on the voice acting, because it is laughable at best. To top it all off, there are some copies of this game that will flat out just not work. Not because the disc is scratched, but because the developer shipped a broken game. Honestly, I think I'd rather pay for one that didn't work, and save Robocop the embarrassment. Number 4. Wayne's World for the Super Nintendo. One of my favorite comedy movies of all time. But it must be difficult to adapt a comedy into a video game. The developers did have a few good ideas here and there, like making Wayne attack with his guitar, but there's just so much else that's wrong with this game. Wayne gets sucked into a video game, and Garth has been kidnapped by a gelatinous cube, so Wayne ventures off into 4 levels of pure torture to save his buddy. Before you even notice how poorly this game controls, you'll notice how none of the graphics seem to fit the same style. Some things may look okay, but others look like they were made in MS Paint. The screen is so busy it's difficult to tell what you can and can't interact with, and what can and can't hurt you. The cutscenes also fall victim to the unfortunate graphics. Garth and Wayne downright scare me. I'm not quite sure what the goal of each level is, and I've never actually beaten one. Are you supposed to find a certain item or an exit? I really have no idea, someone please let me know. It's a labyrinth, and once you die, it's back to start, so any progress you thought you might have made really didn't matter at all. The controls aren't doing you any favors here, as there's a slight delay, you have to be precise with your jumps, and you can't even attack while ducking. I can see how the game tried to appeal to fans of the movie with the cutscenes, and they sometimes got a laugh out of me, but it cannot be saved because the gameplay is atrocious. The sound effects just tie the whole painful package together. Every time you die, you get a distorted version of Wayne saying, "Not worthy," over and over. As Wayne would say, this game is excellent. Not! Number 3. The Fifth Element for the PlayStation. The Fifth Element is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies. And the only thing the game really shares in common with it is that it's the exact same story. The game even goes as far as lifting clips from the movie as its cutscenes, albeit at a very poor quality. Now, I've talked about how the games so far seem to be marred with bad controls, but none of them compare to the misery of controlling this game. You can either play as Corbin Dallas or Lilu, and I'm not sure which is worse. Corbin uses guns and Lilu uses melee attacks and grenades. Moving your character forward is fine, but once you need to turn, all bets are off. You're better off coming to a complete stop and then turning in the direction you want to go, then start back up moving forward. The controls are that bad. You never get where you want to go smoothly or quickly. It feels like early Resident Evil 10 controls, except in that game you were moving at a much slower pace and there was no platforming. Jumping in this game is equally, if not more horrible than walking or running. You will without a doubt fall into pits or never reach your target platform the majority of the time you jump. It took me almost 5 minutes to jump up to some boxes to reach a free life. It's just really hard to describe how unresponsive the controls are unless you played it yourself, and I don't want you to do that, so take my word for it. Once you start throwing enemies into the mix, it's a recipe for disaster. You will not be able to see most of the bad guys until they shoot you, and even then you have to move very close to see them because the game can only see about 10 steps in front of you, and the rest is a sea of blue. This is clearly a side effect from the awful graphics. The enemies are way more powerful than you, and their aim is better, so it makes the odds of you having any fun with this virtually zero. Do yourself a favor, just move on, pretend this game never existed. Just go watch the movie and I guarantee you'll have a good time. Number 2. Batman Forever for the SNES and Sega Genesis. This list is about games I hate based on movies I love. But this is the exception, because I hate this game so much it had to be included. I don't think Batman Forever is a good movie, at all. But as a kid, I did like it. It was colorful, goofy, and it had Batman. That's all I really needed for entertainment at that age. I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But, even as a kid, I knew this game was trash. And this is coming from a kid who would gladly play the game Bubsy. But still, I would not touch this vile excuse of a game. It just sat on my shelf for 20 years. Now, at first glance, it doesn't look too bad. The visuals are okay, a bit too dark, a bit muddy, but once you start playing, you know how awful this experience is gonna be. The button layout sucks right from the get-go. Up is jump, which is always unwelcomed. Your only objective is to fight wave after wave of oddly named thugs, one after the other. Each guy takes at least a minute to beat, and then it starts to dawn on you. Wait a second, this is just Mortal Kombat as a side-scrolling beat-em-up. Well, minus the special attacks, cool characters, fatalities, or any charm. It's just walking very slowly to the side and punching memorable Batman villains like Warlock, Bloodfire, and Creditor? There are no cool gadgets, and the ones you do have do little to no damage. It's so unbelievably repetitive, and the levels take forever. How fitting of its name. There are some platforming sections, like where you need to quickly activate 6 question mark boxes in the allotted time, and if you don't do it fast enough, you have to start all the way from box 1. This will kill any progress you hope to make. The controls are so unresponsive that I was unable to do it after about a half hour of trying. The only reason I own this game is to remind myself to appreciate all the good games I have. I hate you, Batman Forever. Number 1. Friday the 13th for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Since Friday the 13th is my favorite horror franchise, and Jason my favorite horror icon, this game is a slap to the face. Now if you were gonna make a game based off the movies, you'd think that the players would want to take control of Jason. I mean, he's the reason people watch the movies. But no, you're stuck playing as one of the irresponsible camp counselors. Huge mistake right off the bat, but that's the least of this game's worries. You are at Camp Crystal Lake, and the goal is to find and kill Jason before he kills all 6 of your playable characters, or kills all the kids at the camp. The counselors play a bit different from one another, with Chrissy and Paul being the best, because they can run much faster and jump much higher, with the other 4 being completely useless fodder for Jason to slay. As you start walking, an alarm will start to sound, and that means Jason is closing in on a cabin of campers. The alarm won't stop until you get to the cabin, or the kids are killed. Either way is fine by me if it means sweet relief from that incessant beeping. Actually, your ears will always be burning, because if it's not from the beeping, it's the music that repeats the same melody on loop every 4 seconds. It's enough to drive a man insane, and playing on mute isn't an option because you'll need to be able to hear when the Jason alarm sounds. You have a map of the camp that will show where Jason is, but it can be pretty useless, especially when you're in the cave or forest where it's no help at all. So be prepared to get lost and die because it's a maze in there. If you make it to a cabin in time to save the kids, Jason will pop up and throw down in fists with you. So why not stand toe to toe with a supernatural psycho and throw rocks at him? Makes perfect sense. See, what makes this game so bad is how little they paid attention to the Jason mythos. They have Jason control an army of bats, wolves, and the undead, just like in the movies, right? Jason can also swim super fast through the water and attack you. His weakness is water, for crying out loud. How did the developers miss that? My favorite part is when Jason will jump you in broad daylight and straight up street fight you. Classic Jason. Okay, he did do that one time. Most people will not beat this game, and if you do, I can't imagine you having any fun. The only good thing that came from this game is that NECA Toys released a purple glow-in-the-dark Jason action figure. This game is a nightmare that Freddy Krueger himself wouldn't dare step into. It's best to just let Jason win, and join your friends on the other side. There you have it, my top 5 worst video games based off of movies. Are there others out there that are just as bad, if not worse? Sure, there are some notoriously bad ones like Catwoman or Charlie's Angels, but was anyone really expecting those to be good? After doing this video, it really starts to make me think, are there any good video games based off of movies? Find out next time on It's All Fun and Games. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked that video, why not click the video on the left and see my top 10 favorite games? Or click the video to the right if you're looking for a good game that you can get for cheap. And if you really like what I'm doing, why not click the button in the middle and subscribe? Thanks again.